Quintana, coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make these thank you cards using the basket bunch stamp set and the masking technique. So this is the note card that we are going to be making, and basically it's a bunch of stamping and then some watercoloring. Then we're going to take this exact same layout and I'm going to show you how to make a stepped up version of this card. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make these. To start off with, you're going to need some Whisper White note cards and envelopes, and I'm going to pull out a note card. And these note cards are already scored in the middle, so I'm going to put it so that the card will be a horizontal card. And then I'm going to take my Memento Tuxedo black ink pad, and I'm going to take the basket stamp from the basket bunch stamp set. I'm going to stamp it in the right bottom corner, like that. Then I'm going to take the Thanks a Bunch stamp and stamp it in the opposite corner and kind of along the same line as the bottom of the basket and stamp it down. Then to put some chicks into the basket, I'm going to take a Post-it note and I'm going to put it such that I can just see the top line of the basket. And then I'm going to take the first chick. Now there's 2 chicks in this stamp set, and so choose the one that faces right, and I'm just going to stamp it at the corner of that basket just so it overlaps the Post-it note a little bit. That way it will look like the chick is partway into the basket. Then I'm going to do the same for the other side with the chick that faces left. And you can see right now that they're facing each other. I'll take that Post-it note off in a moment. Then I'm going to stamp the feet for the chick that faces left. And I'm just going to put that just on the edge of the basket. And then I'm going to take that chick and stamp it just above its feet, like that. Now I can remove the Post-it note, and you can see how cool it is because the chicks look like they're inside the basket. Then I'm going to take the feet again for the left facing chick, and I'm going to stamp them down in between the basket and the greeting. Then I'm going to take the chick that faces left and stamp it right above its feet. Then I'm going to take the other feet for the chick that faces right. I'm going to stamp that right above the thanks, like that. And then I'm going to take the chick that faces right and stamp it right above its feet. And there we go, we've got the layout for the card. Now we're going to color everything using some watercolor pencils and a blender pen. I'm going to be using the Daffodil Delight, Melon Mambo, Pumpkin Pie, and Early Espresso watercolor pencils. So I'm going to do my first chick, and I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to scribble along the outside of this little chick, and I'm also going to color in its wing. Then I'm going to take my blender pen, and I'm just going to do small circles to blend out those little pencil lines. I'm going to leave a little white space in the center, and I'm just going to hit the wing as well. Every time I change colors, I'm going to scribble on my Post-it note to get rid of any color on my blender pen. Now I'm going to fast forward while I watercolor. And here is the completed watercoloring. Now all we need to do is fold this card along the score line and use a bone folder to smooth down the fold. And there is your note card all done. Now let me show you how to make the full-size card. To make the full-size card, you're going to need a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and I've cut this piece to 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and then I've scored it in half at the 4.25 inch mark. Then all you need to do is fold it along the score line and use a bone folder to smooth down that fold. Then I'm going to add a piece of designer series paper, and here I've got the Brights designer series paper. I've chosen Daffodil Delight, and I've cut this piece to 5.5 inches by 1 inch. I'm going to use some Tombow to glue down this piece. About 1/2 inch from the bottom of the card. Then for the chick piece, you're going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I've cut this piece to 4.25 inches by 2.75 inches. And I've already gone ahead and I've already stamped and watercolored the scene, and I've done it in the exact same way as I did for the note card, except I left off the thanks a bunch greeting, and I'm going to stamp and punch that out separately. So let's add this to the card. Put some Tombow on the back here. And I'm going to position this about 1/2 inch from the right side and just part way onto my designer series paper, like that. Then you're going to need a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to bring my Memento Tuxedo black ink pad back in, and I'm going to take the Thanks a Bunch stamp and ink it up and stamp it onto my scrap piece. Then I'm going to take my classic label punch and center my greeting into the window. When it looks good, go ahead and punch it through. Then I'm going to take some dimensionals to put on the back to adhere it to the card, and I'm actually going to use 1/2 dimensional because it's really hard to center these dimensionals on there so they don't peek through. So I'm just going to cut some of these little 1/2 dimensionals on the side so that I can use them on the back here. So just add a few of these to the back, and then all I have to do is remove the backing. One more. And then we can just position this right below the chick and just hanging off the focal point just a little bit. And there you go. We've taken a note card and we've turned it into a full-size card. So now you have 2 options using the same stamping technique. Aren't they just so cute? All the supplies you'll need to make these adorable thank you cards are available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now.
If you like this tutorial, be sure to check out all the free with purchase tutorials available on my blog. The Hershey's Chicken and Egg tutorial is just one of the exclusive tutorials that you can choose free with a minimum purchase in my Stampin' Up! Store.